What's up, guys? Park here, and holy crap, what a week it has been. So the last time I posted a video on this channel was about a week ago, right before the launch of Legion, and wow, what a seamless, smooth launch that Blizzard up to up to the DDoS attack. Legion was almost flawless. A few issues after DDoS, but all in all, holy crap, this is a really good expansion. And we're gonna have some more thoughts on that in a video coming up here in a bit. But I want to share with you guys over the past week of me leveling, me doing content, me thinking about things with the guild, me sitting down. I want to share with you guys something that happened probably about 3 or 4 days ago. And I want to share my thoughts, my opinions, and as a guild and raid leader, how I intend to handle this situation. So this is not a video directed towards my guild leaders, my raid leaders, or my raiders. This is a video for all of you guys. And the reason for that is I want to see, or at least share, my perspective as a guild and a raid leader. I want to talk about the perspective of the raiders, and I want to see your thoughts, your opinions, your perspective, whatever your role is, whether you're in a leadership position, guild, group, raid leader, whatever, or you're just the dude that logs on, kills stuff, logs off. So I get a text. I want to say it was, let's say Saturday morning, whatever. We'll throw a day out there. It really doesn't matter. From one of my guild members, and he says, hey, something to the effect of, 2 of my guild members have picked up BoE epic pieces of equipment. They got them from world drops or dungeons. It doesn't matter the source of them. They received these things, and instead of offering them to the guild, they promptly sold them on the auction house for a very large profit. 50, 60, 80, 100K. Don't know what it was, but the basic premise is they picked up something that could have been used by someone else in the guild, and instead of sharing it, they sold it on the auction house for a personal profit. So we have 2 guys at least that have done this. The first is a raid member, a core raider, and in fact one of my officers. The second one is a guy that raided with us in the past due to, whatever conflict, scheduling conflict, or, whatever the case might be. He kind of dropped out. He's leveled and he's PvP and whatnot, but he is not a core raider. So let's separate the two before we talk about some other stuff that has happened. So the non-core raider, this guy that gets on PvPs, doesn't really play all in all. How do I feel about him doing this? Well, overall, it's unfortunate, but he is not a core raider. He is not a trial and eval. He's not there to help out the raid group. Yeah, he's part of the guild. He has raided before. He may raid again, but the fact is that he is held to a different standard, or rather, that officer, that core raider, is going to be held to a much higher standard. And we're going to get to that in a second. So that non-raider, yeah, it sucks. I really wish he hadn't have done that, but there's not much I can say. How can I go to this guy and say, look, you should have given this, or you should have sold this for, a percentage discount to a fellow guild member or a raider, or given it away? Yeah, I can't really say that. Now, we turn it around the flip side, and we look at my officer who did the same thing. He picked up a whatever piece of BoE gear that was epic, a very obviously, high item level. I don't know what it was. This is all being told to me via text, via Skype, via Ventrilo, via in-game whispers. I don't know what it was. I was asleep at the time. But the premise was that this item was looted, that an officer got and promptly sold on the auction house for a lot of gold. How do I handle that situation? So here is the TLDR version of it. There's nothing I can do. This is an item that a core raider, and in fact a fellow leader, one of my officers that helps me run the guild, that helps me run raids, that provides data and feedback, and that we feed off of, and he did this. But I have no recourse. I can't tell him to not do this because, let's be honest here, you set a policy within your guild and you say if there is a BoE item that you guys pick up or any type of item that can be used by another player, you have to give it away. Which leads me into this other instance, that this other issue, and where a third raider was running a 5-man, and I don't know if it was normal, heroic, mythic, unsure, doesn't really matter. Piece of loot, one of the relics drops for your artifact weapon. However, it is not the guy that gets the drop. It is not for his main character. It is in fact a warrior artifact. We have a warrior tank that could totally have used that item. And when the tank says, hey dude, I could use that. Like, can I buy it from you? Can I get it from you? No, I'm going to send it to one of my alts. So again, what can I do? I can't make a guild policy that says, you have to give these things up. You have to give them to fellow raiders. You cannot hold on to them. If you don't use them right then and there, if you're out in the world, if you're doing a daily quest, if you're killing a mob in a dungeon and it's something that anybody else can use, you need to give it away promptly. I can't logically make a rule that says that. Why? Because let's say I do. Let's say I make this broad blanket statement that says if you get something and you can't use it and it's BoE, you have to put it in the guild bank. Are people going to follow that? This is an honor code type thing. This is the honor system where people are just going to lie, and they're going to, if there's no incentive to give it away other than your guild master, your guild leader tells you to, why the hell would you do it? Because let's be honest, people are going to be people. People are selfish and greedy, and if they can get away with it, they're going to do it. But here's the flip side to that. I know this has happened. I know on 3 separate occasions, people have gotten gear that could most definitely be utilized when it comes to us plowing through raid content. Come the 20th of this month, it's going to come a lot quicker than people realize. People are going to be still gearing up. People aren't going to be ready. And when the time comes where these guys who are putting in more time and are getting these drops, but are unwilling to share them, there is a good chance, knowing the personalities of these guys, especially my fellow officer, the one of the guys that helps me as the guild leader run my guild, says something to the effect of, you're not doing what you need to do to help the guild, to support the guild. You're not doing what you need to do to gear up and to get your artifact weapon to where it needs to be. And, you aren't doing what you need to do. That is when I, as the guild leader, as the raid leader, plan to step in. It's fine if you want to pick this crap up, if you want to sell it on the auction house, if you want to send it to an alt. That's fine. I have no problem with that because I can't control what you do. I can incentivize, and that's the secret. I can incentivize you doing it. I can buy it from you with guild bank funds. I can, say, hey, here's the deal. If you submit this, you will be paid back, with whatever item, we will make it worth your while. If the guild picks up something, we'll give it to you, kind of thing. If you put in, you are also going to be able to get out from that system. But I can only step in, I can only take action once these guys start bitching, basically, about the performance of the raid. Why can't I do it now? Because why would you freely give away 50k gold to a guild member? We go back to this overarching, one of the biggest problems in video games, especially when it comes to MMOs, especially when it comes to World of Warcraft. And you see in other games, in most or any game where you have an online component and you have player A who puts in more time or gets lucky, but generally puts in more time, and you have player B who either doesn't put in or is unable to put in that time, you're always going to have this sense of, I'm better, I've earned more. And to a certain extent, I can agree with that. This is a game design discussion that we're kind of leading down into, and it's not something that I want to talk about, at least not in this video. But I understand the mentality behind it. If I put in, let's throw a number out there. If I've already put in 50 hours, I'm just making up numbers, into Legion, and you've put in 10, why should I give you this BoE that I found, that I looted? I earned that, right? Because I put in 50 hours. No, you got lucky. Dude, you got lucky. But I can't force people to do it. It logistically, it logically, it just doesn't make sense to do it. However, when and if, or I guess if and when, my raiders, especially that officer, start bitching about, you're not doing enough DPS, or you're not doing your job, and it becomes an issue with gear and not necessarily a skill issue. If it's he needs a piece of gear, but the skill level is there, that's when I step in and say, hey, look, you had this item, you sold it, he could have used that. That's when I feel I need to step in. So I want to know your thoughts on it. I want to know wherever you are at within your guild structure, whether you are like me, you're a guild leader, you're a raid leader, you are just a raider that shows up. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings on this? Honestly, my thoughts are, I'm disappointed. It sucks. It's a selfish thing to do. It is very inconsiderate, especially considering the whole point of a guild is a group of like-minded people that band together to, complete a goal, to focus on something. And for us, it's heroic and mythic content. So to have those outliers, those 2 or 3 guys that are unwilling to help the group as a whole, it really disappoints me, especially when I have so many people within the guild that are making gear, that are running heroics and whatnot, and are buying things and are loaning gold and are doing all kinds of things for those that are myself as a great example, because of the week that I had where I had work all week and I had adult responsibilities. My day-to-day playtime wasn't that great, so I just hit level 110 today. I simply couldn't log in to do it. But when I got to 110, my guild members were sending me gear. I logged in and I went from 780 to 805, 800 item level in 5 minutes when I opened my mailbox. So to see guild members that aren't willing to do that, that are willing to be selfish and disrespectful, it's disappointing. But I certainly want to know what you guys think about this. If you are not experiencing this situation, just think, how would you feel if you were in this situation? I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching this. I'll see you later.